welcome to another episode of A Closer Look. Thank you for joining us. In this segment of A Closer Look, we zoom into some of the allegations made by the alternate government and challenges laid down by shadow ministers for the current Pangu-led government. With feedback being thrown to the media from both sides of the House, one can draw a conclusion that this is now becoming a battle of facts between the government and the opposition caucuses.
Since the 9th of March, we have witnessed a wrath over who is telling the truth and who is not, from the current Marape Rosso government to the opposition side of the House, a battle of facts. During the week, the alternate Prime Minister and provincial member for Isipik, Alen Bird, have revealed threats he had received and confirmed that he has been advised by a Deputy Police Commissioner that his life is under threat. He further revealed that he was advised by senior government ministers that his phone has been illegally tapped and was told by reliable sources that various state institutions have been instructed to try find anything illegal on him. Even all the apparatus of state have been put on full alert to hunt him down. Responding to these serious allegations, Prime Minister James Marape, in a statement, demanded evidence. Marape stated that if he is telling the truth, who is the Deputy Police Commissioner concerned and which police are monitoring the situation. Marape called on Mr. Bird to provide the names of ministers informing him about his phone being illegally tapped and further called for the MP to point out which state institutions have been instructed to find anything illegal on him and charge him. This call by the Prime Minister was reiterated by the ICT Minister Timothy Masio in an interview with this newsroom.
Because we are not responsible for it. We are not even monitoring anybody on Facebook and all this. Facebook is straightforward. Everybody, they see the Facebook and they know all this. But, what the Honorable Alen Bird is saying is really something that me heart long believe in. And he has to come up with the evidence and give us all the evidence, not just screenshots to you and all this, because there are some things that we need to, we can verify from the ministry point of view and from our work that we do. We don't interfere, we don't monitor anybody. This is a free country and people have the freedom to, say whatever they want. And I'm just surprised to see that, he's saying that the state apparatus and all this, all this is, I can't believe this, it's happening. Our government is not like that.
However, responding to the call made by the two leaders from the government to provide evidence to the allegations made, this was what the alternate Prime Minister has to say.
I think the important thing is what we've said in the statement. These things are not new. We know that threats are a daily thing in Papua New Guinea, not just for members of parliament. And this is the thing that worries me. If we start to weaponize institutions of state, we've already seen it with DSIP and PSIP funding. We've known for many years now, these things are weaponized. They're weaponized against members of parliament. So I'm going to nubla something, all right? And we also know that previous challenges for the Prime Minister have also received threats. So I'm in a nubla something. So when I raise them, I expect that people will be concerned and say, look, the thing the Prime Minister should have said is, you said make him this or something, yeah, you stop him. And that's what I'm asking for. Just stop what you're trying to do. You may all get a Papua New Guinean say, no, I don't laporet man stop your thing. Me blogger got tribe na, me got friends na, family na, wantoka. So use him head, na, make him something. That's essentially why I came out in public, is to say to everyone, let's stop for a moment and do these things properly. That's all I'm asking for. Now, we've already seen in government departments how certain government officials, they become very vindictive. Also, bagarapi molman lol walk lole. So sometimes when we find out about these things, we've got to keep quiet. And that's what I've done. But what I did do was to call the Deputy Prime Minister and tell him on the same day that the police called me, I called the Deputy Prime Minister and I informed him of what happened. And I left it at that. So I think the reason why I came out was when I saw letters. I saw copies of letters. And there's another letter that we are waiting to get some clearance on as well, where not just myself, but members of the opposition are being targeted for investigation.
Mr. Bird have stated that he is not the enemy of the state and outlined that the state of PNG has 6 enemies that they should put their focus on, highlighting that PNG is a failed state through the indicators that includes security gap, a state that is unable to guarantee the safety and security of its citizens, capacity gap, a state that is struggling to provide services to its people, legitimacy gap, a state where the election of its leaders is called into question, poor governance, corruption, and nepotism, prolonged economic crisis, and extremely inequality. Bird further stressed that he hopes leaders find the wisdom, the courage, and the will to meet 6 main enemies head-on, because this is what the country needs. Shedding light into the state of the economy, the opposition leader and member for Chuave, James Nomane, has called on the Prime Minister to appoint a treasurer immediately.
And we haven't been doing enough to address the youth bulge issue. So when we apply deductive reasoning, and this is very, very important for the country to understand. In the last 3 months, nothing's been done. In the last 5 years, nothing's been done. All our hopes and dreams have been in these big extractive resource projects, Porgera, Pingyang, Papua LNG. None of these things will come to fruition in the next 12 months. What happened up in Porgera last time was just a publicity stunt. Where's the power for Porgera? What's the status of Hyde's gas? It doesn't operate. So how are we powering Porgera? So we've got to stop lying to the people of Papua New Guinea that things are all right and we're tracking all right, and that the economy is in good hands. It's not in good hands. So my call to the Prime Minister right now is to stop the circus, stop the facade, and appoint a competent Minister for Treasury to start handling the economic affairs of Papua New Guinea. Because if he doesn't do that, inflation's going to get out of control. We're already in a cost of living crisis. Unemployment's going to get out of control, and we won't be able to do anything about the youth bulge issue. I put my media statement out and I put some numbers in there. The challenge to the Prime Minister is, and his government, come out to the country and tell us how you will reduce the price of 500 grams of rice to 2 kina, how you will reduce the price of oxen palm so it's affordable at 5 kina, how you will create 100,000 jobs immediately. And all these things are possible.
Mr. Nomane labeled the January 10th event as a reflection of an incompetency within the government and elaborated on issues of threats to the country's economy, pinning a spotlight to the booming unemployment rate.
They plan to do to get us back on track. And this has to happen with a sense of urgency. So from the alternative government, we see that the government is just taking us to a point where the youth bulge will implode. There'll be no prospects and opportunities for our young men and women all throughout the country. And this will create total chaos. The issues are real. Every day, don't think people are having 3 square meals a day. They're not. People are going hungry. People are having babies, unemployed. And this is going to create a disaster for the country. So it's serious and it's real. And the time to act is now.
He further highlighted on some positive outcome government would have achieved if they have a clear vision and policy.
All that's required is an acute understanding of how the economy works, strong management ability, leadership with vision. Leadership that's for the people and not for personal interest. then you will see that with all the resources at our disposal, the land, the youth, the productive capacity of the youth, the seas, the forests, there's nothing stopping us to achieve scale, to achieve exponential growth, to increase exports. But what's required here is a clear pathway to achieving that outcome. And with this lackadaisical approach that the Prime Minister seems to have with everything, no policy, no strategy, no plan, no clear vision, Papua New Guinea will get nowhere, and we're going to get there in a hurry. So what's required now? If he's serious about the economy and the future of Papua New Guineans, you've got to appoint a competent Minister of Treasury immediately and have that minister come out and tell the country what is the economic plan for recovery.
We now take a quick break, and when we return, we will reflect on stories of farmers embarking on the road to self-reliance through agriculture.